Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner, and today is the Women's Olympic Individual Time Trial. 22 kilometers long, about 13 miles in length. They'll start on the Fuji International Raceway and they'll finish there. They'll leave the raceway to hit a climb on the back part of the course and then drop back and finish on the circuit. Big differences between the women's road race and the women's time trial event is that when you're at a time trial event, when you leave the start ramp, you have to be perfect. The legs have to be warmed up and you need to be ready to put out 100% power immediately. When you go back to the race they had on Sunday, that race doesn't even require a warm-up. You have a neutral section that was about 10 kilometers long that day. You can go straight from your car or your bus or whatever they use for transportation there, hop on your bike, start off, warm yourself up. You can take clothes on and put clothes off. We saw many of the Dutch riders starting with their cool jackets throughout the neutral section, and then it was Vos that went back and dropped all the jackets off in the neutral section before the racing even started. She even had time to get fresh bottles. Today's event, completely different. Once they leave that start ramp, they need to be on form and firing 100%. Now, if you tuned in early, you'd seen some of the videos of the women warming up. They're always on the trainers. They have the fan blowing on. Some do, some prefer not. But they always have their headphones on. And the headphones are perfect because what they're doing is the music is, of course, amping you up. We all know when you got good music, it'll bring your spirit up and it'll get you more in the mood. So that's obvious. The second part of the headphones is to keep the world out. Once you start getting your body warmed up and you start getting your mind in the right place to start a time trial event, you don't want someone to come in and interrupt it. So you don't want to be taking pictures or signing autographs. You don't even want to have staff members interrupt you unless it's something that you need. So that's why you always see athletes warming up with the headphones on, is it serves multiple purposes. But the main purpose, I think, even more so than the music lifting you up, is to keep the world out. So now once you get off the trainer, you're warmed up, you're ready to go, and your head's in the right place. Today, one thing nice about starting on the circuit and finishing in the same place is that you know exactly where the start line is, so it's easy to get from the rollers where you're warming up directly over to the start line. Whenever I did a time trial event, the first thing I did when I arrived at the event, I would go see where the start was so I knew exactly how much time I needed when I got off the trainer to get over to the start line. So you arrive, check out the start line, come back. Always important too to make sure your watch is the same as the official's watch. So I know where I need to be and I have a bit of a buffer of time to make sure that I'm not missing my start. The most important thing is to get there and be on time. And then of course the second most important thing is that you're 100% warmed up for the event. So when you leave the start ramp, you're good to go. Today's women's event has 25 women starting. I'll start the race with Amber Neben, who is 7th from last to take off. Now she takes off, goes through the first time check, and she's leading the race. Goes through the second time check, still got a blazing time, and she goes all the way to the finish line to take the lead on today's individual time trial course. The problem she had today's race, it started just behind her, and it's Van Vleuten. And Van Vleuten is flying on the course. When she goes through the first time check, she's up 28 seconds on Amber Neben. Neben's resume throughout time trial events is solid. She has world championship victories and national championship victories galore throughout her career. So when we see Van Vleuten's time, we know 2 days ago's race isn't having much of an effect on her because she is flying throughout the course. Early in her departure of today's race, she did drop her chain once. No panic at all. It didn't look like it dropped all the way off the chain rings, but it dropped from the big chain ring to the little chain ring. You'll see her pause just a minute. She comes out of the time trial position, back on the bull horns there, shifts the bike back up, and then back on the power, and she is flying fast. Now, she is blazing through all the time checks. Like I said, 28 seconds on the first, 40 seconds leading on the second, coming through just about 20-25 seconds behind Amber Neben to take the lead on today's race. Behind her, Marlen Reusser, the Swiss rider, is setting a good time on today's course. She's going up the back climb. We'll see it must be hot and humid because it's early in the time trial when they're hitting that climb. And Marlen just takes her visor and tosses it off to the side of the road to get some more ventilation coming in. That's a big difference. You're going to lose some aerodynamics, but to keep the body cooler and thinking smarter and able to push harder. Plus, it will dry the face so that she doesn't have so much sweat possibly rolling into her eyes. So if it's hot and humid when you're doing the time trials, I never started with the visor. I always went with either smaller sunglasses that got more air in there or just left the visor off altogether. Marlen does a great time coming through for the second best time on today's race. Now last to go on today's course, Anna van der Breggen. She is the only one that could dethrone Van Vleuten up front. Van Vleuten had a solid time, but when we see the first time check of Van der Breggen, we know she's not going to be able to dislodge and take gold on today's stage. The real drama is the fight for silver and bronze. Van der Breggen is doing a solid ride and she is blazing through all the corners. When I'm watching her on the screen, she is just solid in the bullhorns, flying right on the white line there. She's going through the right turn. She'll go all the way to the line to cross the line for a bronze medal on today's stage. The two Dutch riders will go gold and bronze. Marlen Reusser will get silver on today's individual time trial stage. The two Dutch riders made up for all of the mistakes on the road race. An absolute redemption for Van Vleuten. Now, Van Vleuten's solid in the road race. We knew she was in top form, but when you race like you did tactically on Sunday's race, you got to win gold on today. Otherwise, you're going to be thinking about this race for a long time. Anytime throughout my career, and you know I'm always doing tactics and breaking down races for you viewers at home. I love tactics, but throughout my young part of my career, I made mistakes all the time. All these knucklehead mistakes that I bring up, I made those mistakes or seen other riders make them, and that's how I've learned not to make them in my older years and how I've been able to bring it to you guys at home. Now, I'll tell you, Van Vleuten was absolutely beautiful both races, the road race and today. But today, if she had gotten a silver today, she would have never been satisfied for years to come. Anytime throughout my career, whenever I just lost an event because of something I did wrong, I really needed a big win and then it would erase it. If I'm Van Vleuten right now, I don't even care about the road race. Congrats to all the athletes who made it all the way over to the Olympics. It's such an amazing accomplishment. I know the feeling personally. I was there in 2012 when I got this jersey here. Just arriving is such a special event. Today was a fantastic race, the individual time trial. Van Vleuten, you were absolutely amazing. Everyone who finished in the top 10, what an achievement. Pat yourself on the back. If you like the Butterfly Effect jersey, here's a link right here to pick up your own. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys really soon for the men's individual time trial.